What's up, people? This is the first episode of Your Spoken Truth podcast. This podcast has been envisioned for a minute now, and we are officially launching the rocket. So I hope you guys enjoy. This podcast is going to do something wonderful. So, with that being said, let me introduce our first guest of the podcast. He is a brother from another mother, a close friend of mine. We call him Deep Voice Chris. You'll see that why we call that in a minute. But introducing Chris Bindum. What's up, bro?
Hey, Kevin, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, bro.
That's good.
How's your day been?
Today's been a good day.
For real?
Yes, sir.
That's what's up, bro. So, essentially, like what we are trying to do here is just, allow people to just speak their own truth, speak what they believe is the truth. Don't judge or minimize what they believe is factual. So, I don't know if that makes sense to you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. But yeah, we're just gonna have it's gonna be like a little conversation type of thing. You feel me?
Yes.
But yeah, I appreciate you
All right.
coming on.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, the first question I got for you: who is Chris Bynum?
Well, Chris Bottom is a small town boy from the small town of Central Texas. After high school of 2019, I located to Tyler Junior College, where there I received an Associates of Arts in Criminal Justice. And I'm now here at Sam Houston State University, where I'll be graduating this December with a Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice and in Psychology, and with the hopes of continuing in grad school in January with Masters of Arts in Criminal Justice.
That's what's up, bro.
Yes, sir.
So, has it been locked in? Are you have you solidified the master's option yet?
Yes, sir, I have. I have not been accepted yet, but my applications have been submitted and they're now pending. I'm waiting for an acceptance.
I bet.
So if it's God's will, I hope to still be here in January of 2024.
I like that. Hey, you don't gotta call me sir, bro. You don't gotta call me sir.
It's a habit.
It's all good. It's a southern
Yeah.
thing. It's a southern thing, bro.
Yeah, it's a southern thing, yeah, especially from where I'm from.
Where?
Yeah.
So you said you're from a small town. What is a small town? Where you
What
from?
is a small town?
No, like what small town are you from?
I'm from a small town called Center, Texas. It's near Stephen F. Austin, about 30 to 40 minutes away from Stephen F. Austin, our former rivalry.
For real?
Yeah.
Speak on what was it like growing up in Center, Texas?
Well, let's see. Everybody knew each other. Everybody knew me because of my parents. I had parents that were high up in a small town. So my dad's a fire chief and my mom's a first grade teacher was for Center Independent School District.
Mm-hmm.
So, everybody knew everybody and you pretty much, I could never get caught doing anything or go out, because everyone knew my parents,
For real, it's like if you do something that they'll tell your parents.
Yes, they would tell them immediately.
For real.
Yeah.
I feel you. See, I'm the opposite. Like, coming from the city,
Yeah.
it's more relaxed. Like your parents.
Yeah.
It's like like when you in the old days when you like trying to tell somebody you have to send a pigeon to like get to it. It takes 3 to 4 days. That's what it's like in the city. Bro.
And in a small town, we don't have very many options like we do here in Huntsville. People say Huntsville is a small town.
Yeah.
I don't look at Huntsville as a small town. I look at Huntsville as a big city to me.
For real?
Yes, I come from you don't know where I'm from. It's very small.
Elaborate on, because I know a lot of people at this school call it a small town, like you just said. So why don't you think it's a small town?
Well, let's see. In Center, we don't have places like IHOP, Denny's, or shopping centers like we do.
For real?
Like we do here in Huntsville.
Hey, y'all got a Waffle House?
No, sir. There's no Waffle House. There's no
Waffle
Chili's,
House.
no Raising Cane's, no Chick-fil-A.
You don't got no Chick-fil-A, bro?
No, sir. If I want to go to places like that, I have to go near the nearest big city, which is probably 45 minutes to an hour away.
Jeez. And this is in what, Center, Texas?
Center, Texas. Yes, sir.
Bet. What is your morning routine?
My morning routine. Well, I'm not really a morning person, but some days I am. It depends on how late I stayed out at night.
Yep.
But through a typical Monday through Friday, I do force myself to wake up. I now just have the motivation to be able to wake up, go to the gym, and do things like that now.
For what you be doing at the gym, bro?
I do weightlifting, powerlifting. I also do a lot of cardio now.
For real?
And that's where I do my morning prayer in the locker room sometimes. And sometimes whenever I hit my feet in the morning.
Really? Is this something like you're trying to do more, or is that just like kind of a solid routine that you've been doing?
I wouldn't say it's a solid routine, but I would say I am coming together though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So talking about fitness.
Yes, sir.
So what I was saying was, what are your current fitness goals?
I want to be able to lose weight and just be able to build muscle.
Okay, what does that look like to you? If you had your dream physique and your dream goals, what would that look like? Not just like, what does that look like to you?
Yes, better in my mental health, better in who I am today, and being able, to just feel better, have more energy.
For real?
Yes.
Speaking of mental health, what does mental health mean to you?
What does mental health mean to me? I guess mental health is having, since we're both minority men, I guess it's something that's not very commonly talked about in the minority community. It's something that we hold together, dealing with anxiety, depression, and things of that nature, worrying your fears and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. When you were growing up in Center, Texas, right?
Yes, sir.
What was the topic of, what was the conversations about mental health?
It really wasn't talked about enough.
Mm-hmm.
It really wasn't talked about enough.
Why do you think that is?
I really don't know. But when I got here to the SAM community, mental health was a very big topic, though.
Mm-hmm.
But from where I'm from, mental health was not very a touchy topic for some reason.
Do you have any ideas of how you would want to change that? At least either in your own community or when you have your family of your own?
I guess bring awareness. Never be afraid to come out and ask for help if you're suffering with mental health.
That makes a lot of sense because,
yeah.
When you say like it wasn't talked about a lot, it's a thing. And like when in minorities, like when we be talking and just shooting it,
yes.
talking, mental health is like the last thing that we bring up.
Yes.
We just say, I'm good, bro. We chilling. But we don't talk about, I'm actually hurting. Like,
right,
this situation hurt me and I'm not feeling some type of way.
Right.
I don't know. I just feel like maybe it is as black men or black men and women, we are told to
suck it
up,
right.
Shut up, don't speak on it.
Right, yes, you're right.
I feel like we need to change that, but
it needs to be changed. And I've also have thought about, just being a mental health advocate for black men.
Really?
Not just for black men, but also for our Hispanic and Latino brothers as well.
We'll talk.
Yes, sir.
Include all the people of color. We don't just
Well, yes, you're right. But in our
community,
in minority community, it's never talked about.
True.
So that's why I would love to be an advocate for mental health.
I respect that a lot.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna get into your career and what you want to do after college, but I got this nice question for you.
Yes, sir.
So, what is currently going on in your life that you didn't expect to happen?
Well, I guess a couple of months ago, I had the scare for my life back in July, at the end of July.
What happened?
After I was leaving SAM one Sunday evening, one Sunday afternoon, I drove home back to Center, Texas. I walked in the house and my mom was looking at me and says, "I'm getting ready to carry your dad to the hospital. He's not feeling good." Yeah. I walk in and my dad is sitting there with tears in his eyes, something that never happens. We go to the ER, our local ER. Believe it or not, in a small town, we had an ER. And my dad had a mini stroke. And that was something that that was scared for my life, They transported him to the next nearest hospital, which is about 45 minutes away in Nacogdoches, Texas. And it was and he also had 2 strokes when they did a test on him. And then there was a possible aneurysm.
Did they say what caused it or?
No, sir.
No. How's he doing now?
My dad is doing good. It's just an example of what God can do, on how God is a miracle. I mentioned how my dad's a fire chief. He's back today, putting out fires, working wretch, and all that stuff.
That's amazing, bro. Hey.
Yeah, he's back walking and talking and laughing better than what we can right now.
For real?
Yes, sir.
Hey, you know the phrase, who did?
God did.
God did?
Yes, sir.
Yo, so speaking of God and what God has done in your life, what does Jesus mean to you personally?
What does Jesus mean to me personally?
Mm-hmm.
The one who died on the cross for our sins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, how could he sit there and just die for people like us, after all we've done,
Hey, bro, I don't even understand to this day.
Yes. It's
Like,
just to show you how much love he has.
It really is. That is very true. I don't know if you've read in the book of Romans. It talks about one man and one sin, essentially. And in my Bible, it has this passage that said, one man created sin, but one man saved us from sin.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. I've heard that scripture before.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm like, we weren't meant to live the life that we currently are living. But like a man, a savior so beautiful and so merciful.
Yes.
He looked at us and like gave us a second chance.
Yes, sir.
So that's, when you think about that, it's crazy to me. But do you have a testimony?
Yes, sir, I do.
You comfortable telling us?
Yes, I'll tell y'all a short bit of my testimony. It was actually last semester in January was a weird semester for me, even going into the summer semester. It was weird. I went through something that's not commonly talked about either. I went through what is called spiritual warfare. I've talked to you about it, and maybe just a handful of other people know about it. And I'm also in the process of writing a book about all what I went through. But anyways, the testimony is, it's just amazing how God can deliver and save you from evil spirits and things that has tried to come and attack you, Last semester, Satan tried to come to destroy and take me out, my education, my family, and all.
Do you want to go a little deeper, like exactly what happened? If you want, if not, it's okay, but...
Well, let's see. I started suffering with an increase of mental health. It just made me hard to be able to go to classes, I was always struggling, let's see. I wasn't focused, The anxiety I was having and depression I was having just made my thoughts unclear for school and everything. But one thing I always said, and there was a voice that was always in my head, faith and determination. Faith and determination is what kept me while I'm still here today. Faith and determination is the reason why I'm graduating in December. That's part of my book too.
Amen, bro.
Yes, sir. And faith and determination is the reason why I will be getting accepted into our Masters of Arts in Criminal Justice program in January.
Speak it into existence. Amen.
That's just my testimony. My testimony is just faith and determination, how I overcame spiritual warfare, how I fell down, but God brought me back up immediately.
Exactly. What did it say? The righteous fall seven times. But what?
We get back up.
Amen. We get back up.
Yes.
So you spoke on your testimony, essentially circling around faith. What exactly does faith mean to you?
Well, in the Bible and in church, we talk about faith is the substance of things hoped for and evidence things unseen. Faith to me is like having faith in yourself that you can achieve something. I have faith in me, and I have faith in the good Lord that He was going to bring me out, and He did bring me out of what happened last semester. And also, I wasn't in the right place. I was always tired, and also, my prayer life decreased. I was just trapped in darkness last semester.
I feel you, bro. I went through a similar situation, which I don't believe I've told you yet, but so it happened my freshman year, fall 22. And, I'd always grew up in church. I always knew of God,
yes,
but I wasn't never following God. And, when you get to college the first time, some people want to just party, go to clubs, drink, and all this type of stuff. That's exactly what I was doing. And it led to a moment with a situation with a girl where it was a one-night stand type of thing. And you don't want to over trip on something, but what the enemy did to me is when I sinned, he made me focus on that sin, and it completely derailed my faith. Because even though we are not perfect and we all fall short of the glory of God. And you have to remember, when you sin, you repent and you ask for forgiveness.
Yes,
sir. But what I did during that entire time is I sinned and I felt like I was not worthy of the grace of God.
Yes, sir.
I felt like, like when you do something wrong to a parent and you just see that disappointment.
Oh, yes, yes.
That's what I felt. And it led to probably about 6-8 months of me just back and forth, following God back and forth. But I wasn't really ever, like, that back and forth part, I was never really following God. Because I was still focused on that one night when I messed up.
Yes.
Extremely. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So, like, and it just shows, like, even to this day, like, yeah, I'm not perfect. I'm getting through stuff, but faith and having faith that you know that you will see the light at the end of that tunnel is so important.
Yes.
But yeah, like, you gotta be like, man, like, that's a good testimony, bro.
Yes, sir.
What about anything else you want to speak on?
And and also just to think about God's mercy and His goodness, and how He answers prayers. I'm going back to when my dad had a stroke. When my dad was in the hospital in ICU in Nacogdoches, Texas, which is about 45 minutes away from center, I received a call from my mom about 2 or 3 nights later. They're getting ready to transport my dad to Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
Because they found an aneurysm on his head, and they were going to have to do brain surgery. There, I was emotional, but I was also overly emotional and filled with joy by because I grew up in a small town, and people's love, their prayers, checking on me, We got down to Houston, Texas the next morning. My dad tells me the doctor said there's no need for surgery. It's just an example on how God can change a situation,
Overnight.
Overnight.
Exactly.
Like I say, he didn't even have to have brain surgery.
Really?
There's no need for brain surgery.
Man,
it's just amazing what God can do,
That, bro, I'm speechless. Like, I didn't know of this till now, but I'm like,
right.
Yo, like, when people say, like, yo, God ain't real, it's stuff like this.
Tell me about it. Like, come on now. I feel for people that don't believe in God.
Okay, yo, like, exactly.
Yeah.
I got this experiment that I want to ask you about that.
Okay.
So let's say we are walking in right now. We doing this podcast. An unbeliever walks into this room. How are you going to show them the love of God? And how are you going to introduce them to Christianity?
How will I introduce them to Christianity and show them the love of
They
God?
walk in and they're saying, God ain't real. God ain't doing this for me. What is your response? And how are you going to show them the opposite?
I'm going to tell them, look at all the people that are here today that should have been gone, that should have been gone from suicide, that should have been gone from cancer, that should have been gone from HIV, diabetes and stuff, Just look at that. Like, it's not the doctors. Yes, it's the doctors, but it's by the right hand of God most of the time, I tell them to look at the world today. The world was not created by mankind. Mankind did not create this world. It was a supernatural person, and his name is God.
Amen.
Yeah, there is no way this world was created by man. I tell them, just take a look at the big world that we're in today,
Just really get them to be aware.
Yes.
Of like how big this situation really
is. Yes, sir. Yeah.
And what do you think the current problem with Christianity in America is, if you see any?
I have not really seen any just underlying issues with Christianity today, really. I haven't seen it for myself, but I know there are some issues out there,
What do you think the issues are?
Maybe people not going about the right way, telling people, hey, come to church, come visit me, people, like the street pastors on campus,
Yeah.
They come on campus. That's not really the right way to do approach, to tell a person that there is a God, That's one issue with Christianity that I see, the yelling and the targeting that are,
I feel you. So like,
Yes.
so it's because I'm not aware of what the street pastors on campus. So like,
Yeah, you
what?
never have seen the street pastors on campus.
Nah, man.
It's never been talked about around you.
I mean, I've heard about it. I've never seen it work.
It's usually bad. They're usually targeting and yelling at, black men, saying they're going to hell because they're thugs,
Really?
Yes, they're targeting Hispanic people, saying that they don't belong here,
Dang. And that's like that pisses me off so much because,
yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Like, when we as Christians, when we are trying to make disciples and do what God has fulfilled us to do, we can't just go around and say, you are wrong because you don't do this, you don't do this. What are they doing in their life? Like,
yes, sir.
Are they perfect?
They're basically not being Christ-like themselves by targeting,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I feel like people want to say, oh, we're going to use righteous judgment. And yes, it's in the Bible to use righteous judgment, but I feel like that's a heart issue.
Yes, sir.
Because you can say you're using righteous judgment, but is your heart fully righteous? Are you trying to help them? Or are you trying to condemn them?
Right.
And like, I think me personally, if an unbeliever walked into this room right now, I would say, yo, do you know how loved you are?
Yes.
Like, when you see these people and they look so broken.
Yes.
They walk around with this facade on.
Mm-hmm.
They say, oh, I'm okay. But when they get in their room all alone with their thoughts, they're breaking down crying.
Yes, you're
so
right.
Like, when you see them, you can just easily tell, yo, like, bro, do you know how loved you are?
Yeah.
Do you know there's a Lord and Savior that said,
yes.
you are mine, and I am yours.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, I feel like that's the first thing we should do. Other than, like, tell them anything else, yo, focus on how loved they are. Because when they figure out how loved they are, then God, not us, God will change them.
Yes,
they could be like an addict. I know a lot of addicts back home.
You're right.
It could be they can be like addicted to meth. They figure out how loved they are. It ain't gonna be me. Trust me, it ain't gonna be me. God's gonna be like, yo, put the meth down.
Right.
Follow me.
You're right. Yes.
You know what I mean? But man, like, I don't know. I just feel like that's.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yes. Yes.
It really is, bro.
It really is.
Okay, so now that I've heard your testimony and what Christianity means to you, how has living life as a Christian affected you?
How has it affected me?
Yes, good or bad. We can go both if you want to.
It's both ways. And I'm going to get to why it's bad too. But I'm never going to stop believing in God and never will stop having a church, just because some of the cons to it, It's good because I can wake up in the morning and know that I've got clothes on my back, clothes to wear, shoes on my feet, being able to go to class, being able, to just be a college student today. That's how it has affected me good today, and being able to know that there is a Lord and Savior that can heal and do wondrous works and do miracles. Now, as for the bad side, sometimes you are looked down as a Christian sometimes. Back in high school, everyone knew me as a church boy, of course. They called me Pastor Chris, Pastor Bond, all that.
Yeah.
But I was looked down by a few students, They say, why do you believe in God? Why do you go to church and stuff like that? Oftentimes, being a Christian, you are looked down upon, like we just said, about down on unbelievers, But I never let that stop me.
Yeah.
So, it's good and bad,
I feel you, bro. Something I learned recently, which I've been struggling with being a Christian, is it really can get lonely sometimes. Because you are placed on a walk that not many people are on and not many people are living. So it's like there's an analogy like the gates are narrow.
Yes.
You're walking that narrow path, and oftentimes, you'll have people come in your life and they'll leave.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
And yes, sir.
And you really gotta stop and think.
Right. And we never understand why people leave us, people that we thought was our best friend or our true family member. but God knows what's best, you know.
Yeah. Have you had situations like that that's happened?
Oh yes, all the time with friends and even some relatives too.
You want to speak on it if you want to?
Well, just typical minors, like people that you truly love, people that you've been there for all your life will turn against you, talk down upon you.
Mm-hmm.
But I learned, I used to get upset about that, but then I started thinking, that was God doing that, God probably overheard conversations, that you didn't hear.
Yep.
There's a quote about that. And also God removes people from your life because they can't go where you're going next. God is about to elevate you.
Amen.
So that's why I don't worry when people have turned their backs on me, because God is about to elevate me.
Mm-hmm.
And also, God heard conversations that we didn't hear,
Mm-hmm.
as the quote said.
Yeah. I'm struggling with that. Ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Because, lately, a lot of people in my life, even back in childhood,
Mm-hmm.
skedaddled, hit the higher road type.
Oh
of
yeah.
And even like people that could have been father figures to me, and then people that could have been romantic relationships
Mm-hmm.
have left.
Yeah.
And you really gotta for me, it's taking my pride out of it and my hurt.
Yeah.
But you really gotta understand it's not them.
It's not them.
God is removing them because what? He is trying to elevate you, teach you a lesson,
Yes.
or bring you closer to Him, because you try to go to do all these things,
Yes.
but you don't have a true relationship with the one who gave all these things to you.
Right. Yes. Yes.
And I feel like that's what I've been trying to.
Right.
He's been trying to get me to understand.
You're right.
Yeah, because
it kind of happens, here on Sam Houston campus, people that I used to talk to, and hang out with. I see them next week, the day or the day after. They look at me like I'm a stranger or something, like we've never talked.
Yeah.
But that's okay,
Mm-hmm.
Because I always think to myself, God is about to elevate me.
Mm-hmm.
Or God overheard something that He didn't like and He had to remove that person,
Mm-hmm.
And it's also for your protection and safety, is what I also read before too.
Yep. Have you ever prayed that prayer? That one prayer that everybody prays when they get in a relationship. Hey God, if this is not for me, remove
it. Yes, I have.
Has He removed them from that situation after you prayed that prayer?
Yes.
How'd that make you feel?
Well, made me feel okay, because hey, it was me communicating with God, and I told Him if this person's not for me, remove them, and He did it.
That's a beautiful thing, and I like that you said that, because he's gonna give you the signs. Like, I know I'm talking about relationships right now, but just in general, like, He's gonna tell you, He's gonna list these signs. Hey, they're good, they're bad for you, but it's up to us to listen to Him. And you really gotta stop and listen, because I know in my recent history, I look at the signs. He could throw a book full of signs in my face. I'm like, I don't know, God. I mean, maybe they're better. Maybe I can fix them type of thing.
Right, yes, sir.
And you know what happens? I get hurt because I chose not to listen to God.
Right,
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, man. It's like He doesn't want us to be hurt. And He generally doesn't.
Right.
But when we don't listen, He's gonna be like, let me teach you something.
You're right, man. Yeah.
But I don't know, man. You got any what about you? In your personal life, has that occurred to you?
Not really, but I've had people walk away from it, but not
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I feel you, bro. But who has been the most influence in your life?
I would have to say my parents, I guess.
Parents.
Yes.
Wow.
They always encouraged me to do what's best and to never give up.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Was that something you just saw from an early age, or when does that shift in your mind that
Oh, it shifted when I was in the early age,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I feel you, bro.
Yeah.
Look, hey, when you got a good mom and a good dad, it's something beautiful.
Right. And I guess it also it's parenting, and then it has to do with them being in the leadership positions they're in, too.
Mm-hmm.
But
I feel you said your dad was a fire
Chief, yes.
And your mom was a first grade teacher.
First grade teacher, yes, sir.
You like getting the best of both worlds type of thing.
Right, yeah, man. Yeah.
But like, man, that is actually beautiful, bro.
Right.
So I know you just spoke on mental health and going through a depressive state. How did you change and move out of that situation?
You want to know again?
You told me? God?
It's God.
Hey, who did?
God did it.
God did.
Yes, He did it.
That's amazing, bro. And where do you see yourself in 5 years? Wait, how old are you right now?
I'm 23 years old.
Okay. Where does Chris see himself and when he is 28 years old?
28 years old. I'm hoping to be starting my future career as a juvenile probation officer or a juvenile correctional counselor, helping to get misguided and troubled youth back on the right track to society.
Yep.
Hoping to be married by then, hopefully, and have kids of my own.
I feel you, bro.
Yes, I have a heart on wanting to try to get kids, troubled youth, especially black males, young black males, on the right track.
Where did that come from? Like, why do you want to help the youth?
It's just something that just laid on me, you know.
Really?
Yes.
So do you see a moment in time when you felt like, yo, this is the career I should be living out? Or like you said, you just felt it?
I just felt that was my calling.
Really?
To be able to change a kid's life, you know.
How have you been preparing to do said job, like you just said?
Well, let's see. I was a recent volunteer last year for the Walker County Boys and Girls Club here in Huntsville, Texas, just to be able to gain experience on what it is like really working with kids, you know. The kids really never gave me issues, but, you know, there were times, you know, I could tell there were issues at home, you know. A lot of the kids would come to me, you know, with problems, believe it or not. I had about, you know, a few kids came to me with some of their problems. They were like, Mr. Chris, my mom, I feel like, or my dad doesn't love, I'm not showing love. Mr. Chris, do you think I'm a bad kid or something like that?
What would you say to that?
I would tell them, no, don't ever tell yourself that. Don't ever tell yourself that you are a bad person. I told them that you're young, you're human, and we're all gonna make mistakes. Yeah.
You know, I feel like that ties into self-worth a lot. And I feel like self-worth is a topic that's not talked about as much as a kid. So when you interact with these people, I know you just said how you told that one kid, but how would you go about telling people about finding their self-worth and telling these kids about their own self-worth?
Is to believe in themselves more.
Yeah.
Yeah, believe in themselves. Look at the positive aspects instead of the negative aspects. Yeah.
I feel you, bro.
Yes.
Like, so are these the goals that you are pursuing? Like, what other goals besides helping children, helping juvenile children, what other goals are you pursuing as of right now?
What other goals am I pursuing? Well, I've also thought about maybe being an adjunct professor later on in life, you know, maybe or as a side job, you know, after I get through working at the juvenile detention center, maybe coming to a college campus to teach criminal justice, to inspire other students to reach their goals and to motivate other students to reach their goals, you know. Because other professors that I've had that I've really connected with and built a relationship with have inspired me to be a professor. So,
Yeah, that's nice, bro.
Adjunct criminal justice professor, yeah.
Adjunct criminal justice professor. I can
Yes.
I can see you in the chorus room teaching. Speak that deep voice again.
Yeah.
Hey, class.
Good morning, class. How's everyone this morning?
Exactly,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
And like, I really like that you said I was given an opportunity and I was shown the different professors that helped me out, and I want to pay it forward. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
So like,
And I'll still kind of sort of be making a difference in a kid's life too.
yeah.
Because when we get to we're not necessarily kids, but we're still students, you know, in a way. Right.
I mean, I agree. Look,
Yeah.
when I got to college, I didn't know nothing.
Right,
You know,
right.
like, I feel like college is a time like they say, oh, you gotta have everything figured out, bro. I'm just trying to figure out who I am.
Right, yes.
So, speaking of that, how have you figured out who Chris is during your time in college?
I guess being able to know what my degree is, being able to know who I am, I guess, being able to know like what God has prepared for me in the future.
I like it.
Yes,
Bro, so like if someone of high profile, just somebody walked in right now, asked you a simple question. Who is Chris? Tell me who is Chris.
I'm Chris. I'm a student here at Sam Houston State University. 23 years old.
No, like who is Chris? Like the deep person. Don't like not like something you would see on an interview sheet.
Okay.
When they ask you like who are you internally? Who are you?
Kind, trustworthy, motivated.
Where do you think that stems from?
Devoted.
Yeah.
Well, I've always been the type of person to reach what I want to. I've never been the type to give up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's who Chris is. Being the type of person that has never given up, always wanted to reach what he wants to accomplish. Like last semester when I failed, I got right back up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's who Chris is.
Can you speak of moments, like I know you said a lot about last semester, but other moments in your life that you had to dig deep and tell yourself not to give up?
Let's see, back when I was in high school, I was a part of the UIL academic prose and poetry interpretation. I would struggle sometimes, you know, trying to read, you know, and act, read certain lines, you know, because I was in a tough competition, you know. But I never wanted to give up, though.
Mm-hmm.
I never wanted to give up. One night after UIL poetry and prose practice, I went home, threw my book, my little poetry book that I was reading, I threw it on the ground. I said, I'm not doing this anymore. Then the next morning I got up, picked the book back up. I said, God, you wouldn't want me to fail, would you? You wouldn't want me to give up.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm the type that's not a quitter.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So he's like, yo, I'm not gonna quit this.
I'm not gonna quit.
I signed up for it. I'm gonna finish it, type of thing.
Right.
I feel you, bro. You know, I have this story when I played football in high school. So they put me on varsity, right? My senior year, and they kept telling me to do these type of things, and I'm like, yo, like this is getting too heavy. Like the coaches weren't treating. At the time, I felt like the coaches weren't treating me right. So I told my mom, like, Mom, I want to quit this. Like I don't like this. And I had a good fatherly figure of mine that said, yo, you signed up to play football. You wanted this. So why are you trying to quit now? What are you missing that you could learn from this? And it was really trying to teach me, yo, don't give up.
Yes.
Because the amount of times I wanted to give up, and because it got hard, it's too many to count. But like in the end, you really see like how beautiful and how amazing that journey and that valley you went through.
Right.
Like, because there was this sermon I was listening to. You know Elevation Church, right?
Of course, yes.
Yeah. So there was a sermon I was listening to, and speaking about going through valleys and how when you go through a valley, you don't go through the valley, then get to God. You go through the valley with God, and you don't overthink on like, how am I gonna get out of this? You got a flashlight on you? Put the flashlight right there. That's God. Next step.
Yeah, follow the lights.
Exactly, because you're gonna keep taking those steps. Boom! Oh my gosh, what's all this light? That's God. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. I just feel like stuff like that and that we go through in life is so important because it teaches us a value.
Oh yeah.
But
You're right, Kevin.
That's good, bro.
Yes, sir.
Yo, you got a favorite verse?
My favorite verse, I have several favorite verses, but my number one favorite verse that gets me is because, you know, being in college would be Jeremiah 29:11. I live with that scripture daily. That's my top verse. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not harm you, but to give you a hope and a future. That scripture lives with me daily, being in college, because I know that God has a plan, you know. That's just,
I like that, bro. You know, mine is Matthew 28:20.
Okay.
Like the last half of it. It's like essentially when Jesus is telling us, I will be with you from the beginning to the end of days. Because not just in college, but most of my life I felt like, yo, a lot of people are leaving my life. And
Right.
I'm feeling highly alone.
Right.
But what it reminds me is, yo, even when these people on earth are leaving you, there's a man, there's a God, he's never left you. You can, hey, scroll back in your memory, Kevin. Hey, I was right there when he left you. I was right there when she broke up with you. I was right there when you failed that test.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was been there. He's like the entire life. But,
oh yeah. Yeah.
That's my favorite verse. But what about in the Bible? Like, are you currently reading something or studying a book in the Bible?
Not this moment. I'm not. Not this moment. I'm not.
What about in the past? What's been your favorite book of the Bible?
I guess it would have to be Psalm 23, the very familiar passage. The Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want. Yeah, that scripture. Yeah, something about that passage right there and that book right there, Psalms. Because it talks about, how David walked through the valley of the shadow of death, but we shall fear no evil. Remember that?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
You know, for me, I forget it's in Proverbs, but I forget where in Proverbs, but he talks about people who beg to God, like, yo, God, I'm here. I want to see you. I want to get to heaven type of thing. But God's like, yo, I will laugh at you because I never knew you. You know what I mean? It's like, you're gonna die one day, and you'll be like, God, why me? God, please let me in. But you, even when you were alive, you never made that effort to know God. You never opened your heart to let God know you.
Yeah.
So in this book, he's like talking like, at that moment, I will laugh at you, because in the moments when you should have called out to me, you didn't. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's like in my eyes, it shocks me because of my pride. Right. But it's one of my favorite areas of Proverbs, just because of how real it is. It's not like a fairy tale book. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, lock in or get out type of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? But I got this nice question for you, bro.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about society. You know what I mean?
Okay.
What do you think the current problem is in today's society?
I think people need to quit being jealous of others.
Really? What do you mean by that?
I think people just ought to stop being jealous of others. I think people should just be proud for one's success, and not try to be backbiting down, and, be jealous of one's success,
How do you go about changing that, if you could? If you had $1 million, money-wise, powers, how would you go about changing that?
I would just give them a speech saying, the one person that's jealous of you, I might be jealous of you back because you probably have something that I like too, so there's no reason to be jealous, if that makes sense,
It does.
Right. I'm reminded, back in high school, people knew my parents, and a lot of people were jealous of that, And I called this one classmate to the side. I said, hey, there's no need for you to be jealous of me, I don't know what it's like, to grow up without a father figure. I know how I feel, But you know what? You have more than what I do, I wish I could be an all-star athlete, run the football like you can every night. I wish I had brothers and sisters like you. And I wish I could be, get scholarships to be able to go off to play football like you can, I wish I had a girlfriend like you, So do you see where I'm getting at, Being able, never be jealous of one's success or jealous of what a person has,
Yeah, I totally agree. Cause I feel like you miss, when you are jealous of other people, you miss the good things in your life.
Yes.
Because you over-fixate on, like you said, I don't got a dad in my life. But then you said, hey, you're going to college for free to play football.
Right. And I wish I never was an athlete. I wasn't an athlete.
Yeah.
But I told him, I wish I was an athlete like you. That's just an example of trying to change jealousy, because a person could have what you have, Right.
And I feel like another deeper level of that, what is like causing society, like you said, jealousy, is when you are jealous, you then lose opportunities to understand people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like some people come into your life and they could look well off. They could look like hey, I'm rich, I'm all this, but they hurting inside, and you had the opportunity to help heal them, but you got jealous, and then boom, they got 10 years more worth of trauma.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like it just adds on to society's problems. But what's a opinion of yours that people might disagree with?
What is an opinion of mine that people might disagree with?
Yep.
You know, I don't really know on that one.
I feel you, bro.
Yeah.
You know, I have a couple.
Okay.
But I feel like, you know, it's just really it stems back to the Bible, because a lot of opinions of mine that I have are Christianity related. And a lot of people will say, oh, yo, like, that's not right. Like, you can't say that in a public setting. Like when it comes to talking about gender or talking about sexuality and stuff like that.
I see what you're saying now. Yeah, you can't change my opinion about there being two genders. There's only two genders, male and female.
Yeah. I feel you. Like,
yeah.
I don't understand. I do to an extent. I feel like the reason why there's so much pushback is because when we over focus on one other sin, people are gonna be called back by it, because then we're not living like a real true Christian. Because like, yo, when we say being gay is a sin, but why are you sleeping around with other women in your marriage?
Yeah,
you know
right, yeah.
It's like very hypocritical to
It is very hypocritical. You're judging, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just feel like, yeah, we can say our opinions and say what people might disagree with, but what is the benefit when you're not living in what you said is right or what you said is wrong? You know what I mean? So I don't know, I just feel like maybe sometimes we just need to shut up sometimes.
Yeah. Most Christians today are very judgmental.
Yeah.
I see it on college campuses a lot too.
Really?
Yes.
Like how so?
Well, they don't like the way you dress sometimes. Sometimes they think you don't have to go out and party sometimes. They like, aren't you a child of God and all this? They don't like to see you with beer. You know, like at tailgates, you know. I've seen it for myself, you know.
Really?
Yes.
People have come up to you talking about...
Not to me, but around my friends, you know, about, you know, my friends that are Christians, you know, and they like to have a beer every once in a while. They'll, you know, come up to them and be like, boy, why are you drinking? That's a sin, you know, and all this, you know, instead of worrying about themselves, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's an attack to try to... When you say you are a Christian, a lot of things can happen to you, and a lot of people will try to down you because you say, I'm living for God. So they will pinpoint every single thing you do that isn't God-like.
Right.
And then let's say I have a beer once every blue moon I have a beer. Some person gonna see like, yo, like you said, aren't you a Christian, bro? Like, why are you drinking? You know what I mean?
Right.
But I don't know. I just like what you were saying is just they're not focusing on their own selves.
Right.
But man, like this world we live in is so intriguing.
It's very intriguing. Yeah, we don't know. Yeah.
What's your thoughts on? I know we talk about society, but what's your thoughts on this climate, like of this world we live in?
We live in a dangerous world. Yeah. We live
Absolutely.
in a world that's full of hatred, jealousy, backbiting, excessive anger. You know.
Why do you think that is?
Inequality.
Inequality is a good one, bro.
Yeah. Racism.
Hey, bro, like, keep speaking on it, bro, because, you know, a lot of people will say, oh, racism is dead.
It's very far from dead. Racism is still alive today.
Like, you see it, but...
It's very still alive today.
It really is. Like, you know, I'm in this philosophy class we're reading this book called New Jim Crow Laws.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so what it is saying is, back then we had slavery, right? Then we had Jim Crow laws. And when slavery was illegal, they found an indirect solution to recreate slavery by making legal discrimination. And then when Jim Crow laws became illegal, they found another indirect way to create mass incarceration. Why do you think we have so many black men in jail?
Right.
Because
right.
people are creating these policies to target us.
Mm-hmm.
And when they don't want to target their own, they're like, hey, weren't 400 years ago, weren't you considered mine?
Yeah.
And they want that feeling again, so they're gonna legalize It's like legalized slavery.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when you spoke on equality, that's what came up to my mind. And
Right. Yes.
I don't know, it's really is a sad world that we live in.
Right. It is. It is. It's a sad world.
Yeah.
Our world would be so much of a better place if people would, the things that I named,
Mm-hmm.
think about how much love and how much more we get along,
Exactly, bro.
Yeah.
Like, just imagine if we had utopia as a
Mm-hmm.
world. Like, we just, you walk up to somebody, you're not overthinking, like, hey, I like your shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, bro, it's a nice shirt you wearing right
Well,
now.
thank you. Yeah.
But, like, what people say is, like, they get jealous.
Mm-hmm.
Or they be like, he got a better shirt than me. Or, I don't know if I should say that. And then you just create this whole cycle, and all it takes is one. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know, man. It's like,
Yeah.
we need Jesus.
Yeah, we do.
We need Jesus.
Our world needs God more than ever before.
It really does.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with the current news and the wars. Are you?
I've been hearing about it, but I don't know about it in depth. I know it's about it going on in the Middle East with Palestine.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. I just feel like I wanted to talk about it if you wanted to, but
Okay, but I don't know about it, a lot of it in depth, though.
okay, yeah, okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
I feel like, what is your opinion on the media and like
The media it's good and bad in a way. The media is good and bad in a way because I feel sometimes the media is full of false statements sometimes.
mm-hmm.
But then again, the media is good because we need to know what's going on in our world today and what's going on in society,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel about the media.
For real. I mean, I agree with you too.
Yeah. So the media is basically, the saying a blessing and a curse,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like it was intended for a good purpose.
It was.
And then you had people that corrupted that good purpose.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Which goes back into what we said earlier.
Yeah.
Jealousy, greed,
All of
these.
it.
It all stems from that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look, even back to Genesis, when the first sin was created, what was it about? Like Eve and Adam,
Mm-hmm.
they ate the forbidden fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Because of what? They wanted to they didn't want to just be with God, they wanted to be God.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right, yeah.
And it all stems from that greed. You too
Mhm.
greedy, sit down, you feel me? Like, but I just feel like, you know what I mean? But
You're right.
I don't know, bro. So topics like that is interesting to
It's very interesting, yes, sir.
What's
Yeah, man.
okay? What are some things that you're interested into learning about? Like some things that might be considered unusual. What do you do in your free time to learn? You know what I mean?
What do I do in my free time to learn?
Yeah, like what crazy things do you like learning about?
Well, I'm kind of a history geek. I love to study about the history around us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I even love studying about the history of Huntsville, the prisons, the community of Huntsville. But I do deep research on my hometown too as well.
You can speak on both if you want to, but let's start with Huntsville. What have you learned about the history of Huntsville?
Well, I learned that we are next to one of the oldest prisons in Huntsville, the Walls Unit, death row execution. It was built in 1860s, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And our criminal justice building where we take classes at were built by prisoners.
Really?
It was built by prisoners. You didn't know that?
No, I didn't.
Yes, it was built by prisoners.
I thank them then, because that building's nice.
It's very nice, yes. And then, I did some research around, the Martha Chapel Cemetery.
What's that about?
You've heard about the Bowden Road, Demon Road here in Huntsville.
Yeah, you can elaborate a bit more, because I'm not too...
Okay, supposedly it's a haunted road. It was formerly a black community.
Really?
The Bowden Road, which is now referred to as Demon Road, it's now an abandoned community. Black folk used to own the property back there, and the KKK came through harassing black folk. They hung a few black men from what I heard. I did some research on the cemetery that's out there. It's buried, there are slaves that are actually buried out there. And I also talked to two of our Old Main cafeteria workers as well. They were actually born and raised out there.
For real?
Yeah, so it's deep, it's a lot of deep and rich history.
That is crazy. I just thought that was like a haunted road. I never thought it was originally a black community.
It was originally a black community.
Man,
it makes it even more interesting.
It really does. It makes it more sad. Like
it does, yeah.
And you just see, like, I don't know if you be seeing online, you see all these people driving through that road, just having the time of their lives.
Yeah, and I heard that graves are vandalized too, which is so very sad, you know.
People like that can just, they
right.
didn't leave, bro.
Right.
With all due respect, and as much as I want to cuss them out, and just, I can't, you know?
Right. It's best to stay in character.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I love to do. I just love history. I love the community work history around us.
That's amazing. You said the history of your hometown. Speak on that.
Well, let's see, where you want me to start?
Hey, start from wherever you want, bro.
Well, I've done a lot of history of where my father grew up at and where my grandparents' house is at in the little church I grew up, which is called the Africa Community.
Africa Community.
Yes, but on Google Maps it's called Africa, Texas. Mm-hmm. Africa was founded the community was created back in the 1800s by former slaves. And there's an old school that sits in Africa today. It's called Webb School. Mm-hmm. My grandmother, along with other relatives, attended the school there. Let's see. Slaves also owned some of the freed slaves also owned some of the property there in Africa. Yeah. And also in the center today, there's an old historical courthouse that was built back in the 1860s, I believe. 1891, yes, 1891, the old Irish courthouse that stands on Center Square.
Is it still up there?
It's still up there.
Really?
Yeah, it's about a 3-story Irish courthouse with lots of rich history. It also has history about black men being hung on the Center Square. I did deep research on that. And about black folk that used to be teachers and educators in Central Texas as well. Yeah.
Is your town considered a more racist town, or is it?
Center has a past representation of being being a very racist town. All my life, I've heard stories that I had a great uncle that was killed inside our movie theater. He was sitting down below. Our movie theater's 2-story. Back then, black folks had to sit down on the bottom, and the white folk were on top. Apparently, a white person some white supremacists threw a brick at my uncle, and the brick broke, and my uncle didn't get over it, and he died right there in the center movie theater. Also, 2 black men were also hung on the Center Square. Their name was Lee Daniels. He was hung in 1921. And the other black guy's name was, I can't think of his name, but he was hung in 1902. And today, many African Americans have a hard time going around the Center Square because of the past representation of what's happened there. There are no black-owned businesses on Center Square. Center Square is basically haunted for African Americans, for blacks and African Americans today.
Because of the past.
Because of the past history. And also there are still stories today of the businesses on Center Square not wanting African Americans, our people, going in their businesses.
How does that make you feel?
How does it make me feel? Hey, I just know, like back what we were saying, the world is filled with jealousy, hate, racism. I don't pay them no attention. And I rarely go around Center Square as much as it is. I go up there sometimes yearly for the Center Poetry Festival, which we have is a fair.
What is that?
Well, let's see. It comes around in every first weekend in October. We have rides, games, and other amusements. And we just have the time of our life. Everybody in the community comes together.
For real?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but you can get to feel that sometimes you're not welcome there sometimes. Because there has been some incidents there as well with black children, by white folks, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just get the feel.
Have you ever had a situation of your own that was like a racial situation that you went through, incident?
Yes, sir, on multiple occasions. Well, I first experienced racism when I was in the 6th grade. I got called the N-word. I forget what we were doing, but I still remember I got called the N-word in gym class. And it kind of cut me off guard. I'm like, me? Well, come on now, me. I'm thinking, come on now, I thought we were better than this.
Yeah.
But it's a small town, you know, small conservative town, you know. So I kind of brushed it off. A few years later, the same incident happened. I started working at Brookshire Brothers Grocery, a franchise grocery store there in Center. It was my second day on the job. And this white boy that I knew from high school, I thought we were cool and everything. But he came up to me talking about how in people are bad. Like, you black men are bad, y'all are a threat.
Really?
Yeah. So I handled the situation myself.
How'd you handle it?
But I actually fought the boy.
Really?
I did.
What happened after? Did you you 1-0 or what happened?
I was 1-0. Yeah, I won the fight.
Yeah.
But the manager talked to me the next morning, and he agreed to just let me stay on the job.
Mm-hmm.
But we had to work different shifts, though.
Okay. So he worked there with you?
Yes, he did work there with me, but after the manager knew what happened,
yeah,
we were working different shifts now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's sad that you had to go through that.
Right, and you know, and also a lot of the white folks from back home, they don't like to see, you know, most of us black men that are in college, they don't like that, you know. Mm-hmm. They don't think we're supposed to be above them, you know. Mm-hmm. That's what happens in Center a lot.
And like, I feel like not even just in Center, we can bring this worldwide.
Yeah.
You know, talk about, I know you have your own personal opinions on the Section 17 bill and about the DEI situation.
Yes, about what we're about to go through.
Yeah, so I don't know if the people watching this will understand completely what it is, but care to explain what it is?
Well, the Texas Senate Bill 17 is where they're now going into colleges and universities, I'm guessing some public schools, high schools, where they are removing minority groups. Mm-hmm. For example, you know, our elite program is a minority male success program with black and Hispanic males. Come in January, there will be changes made to our program where they will be adding all race to it. Mm-hmm. Whites, Asians, all.
How does that?
It'll no longer be a gender as well.
Really?
Yeah, it won't no longer be males either. I think it's also overweight with males and also same race, color.
Jeez. How does that make you feel?
Well, in my opinion, I don't like it. I wish elite, I wish this bill would remain the same. I wish there was no changes. Because we as minorities need to come together, just be minority men, you know, like in elite we talk about, we know it's just something about coming together as minority men, talking about, you know, our struggles, you know, and our success, you know. That's just how I feel. I just feel that it would be left alone, you know.
Yeah.
I like our program, how it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for the people watching this that don't know our program, what is ELITE?
ELITE is the acronym ELITE, establishing leadership in and through education. Again, it is a minority male success program for black and Hispanic males because, you know, we as black and Hispanic males, you know, a lot of us don't go to college, you know, or a good number % of us when we get to college, you know, we drop out. But it's also, you know, for us to come together, be able to be success, you know, we're mentored by peer mentors. Also, you know, for us to come together and be men, you know, open up about our feelings, you know, our struggles, like we do in our small group talks.
Yeah, and speaking of these...
It's basically a brotherhood for minority men.
Brotherhood, I'm glad you said that because that's really what it is. It's a brotherhood.
Yeah, that's why when you see me coming to the office, I be like, hey, Brother Kevin, you know.
Yeah. Because we are brothers, like...
We are brothers, yeah.
Not just in brothers in Christ, but, we the same, same skin colors.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So, hey, we really gotta look out for each other. And
Right.
I like that we have organizations like Elite.
Yes.
Because it helps the person that, hey, I may be black, but I don't have my community. I don't know where my community is.
Right, yes. And and back to, I have nothing against with us coming together, us integrating together. Because, in the classroom, it's all different types of race. But I just like how we as minority men have a program together,
Mm-hmm.
That's it,
I feel it.
Yeah.
So, here's another experiment.
Mm-hmm.
If you saw a black, Hispanic, Asian, whatever color, it's a colored minority walk in, and they're going to college as a freshman, for the freshmen coming in right now,
Mm-hmm.
how would you help them find community?
How would I help them find community? I would show them and tell them all about our good organizations here on campus.
Mm-hmm.
I would tell them all about the good things that our campus provides.
Yeah.
I would tell them, about Elite. And, I'd tell them to don't be, ashamed to be able, to find community, that there are people that are actually there for you. They may walk away, but there's still going to be somebody that's going to be there for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you were saying, essentially, to the person that is a minority that doesn't feel like they don't have community, that they have someone that's there for them, essentially. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like, man, it's just like, we really can't leave our own out there just to, to fall off in.
Right, yes.
Because, like, I mean, being raised in Dallas, you see it a lot because you see the impact of what not having a community does to a minority man. For example, I was driving back home one night, and as I'm driving home, I see this black man and this black woman strung out, crawling in the street on drugs. When I tell you, my heart hurt for them so bad, and it may not just be community, they may have other traumas.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say they had that one black man or that one Hispanic, one minority person of color to tell them, like, yo, the path you are currently on, it's not good.
No.
Maybe they wouldn't be crawling in the streets at 2 a.m. fiending and getting high off meth or whatever they're on.
Right, and that's just an example of me wanting to change a kid's life. I want a kid to be like us before they get to juvenile detention, when they've been released. Go to college, get to be doctors, teachers, lawyers. They don't even have to be there. They could work at Walmart or be at McDonald's flipping burgers. Mm-hmm. As long as they are not behind bars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel you, bro. So, like, what is your current opinion on the juvenile system and how that leads individuals to jail, like minority men to jail? Or actually, what is your current opinion on the current criminal justice system?
The criminal justice system is a bit biased and racist. Not to the fullest, but you know how minority men are targeted more over white men, It's just what I'm saying,
I feel you.
Yeah, so the criminal justice system does have its favorites, like take for an example, a couple of years ago, what was it, back in 2012, Trayvon Martin, an African American boy, was it in Florida? He was in Florida.
Florida.
Florida, just walking in the neighborhood, minding his business with a bag of Skittles, and later was shot and killed by George Zimmerman.
Say it louder for the people that can't hear that man.
Yeah, he was killed and murdered by George Zimmerman.
Mm-hmm.
And Zimmerman got to court. What did they do? They found him not guilty.
Mm-hmm. Acquitted of all charges, actually.
Yes.
Like, bro.
Like, come on now. What's wrong with that picture?
Uh-huh.
But you had Dylan Roof that went into an African American church in Charleston, South Carolina, shot up, I don't know how many black folks during a Bible study on a Wednesday night. You know what they did to this dude right after?
What happened?
They took him to Burger King and Whataburger because he was hungry.
Really?
Yes, that's what I read about. That's what I heard about.
You want a sad thing about that situation too?
What's that?
That video was published online to everybody. I know exactly what you're talking about. Because when I was in middle school, I had friends come up to me, yo, you remember that? You see that? You want to see the shooting that happened in Charleston? You could see these black people covering in fear because they're being targeted. And I'm like, yo, the fact that alone is published and people don't care about that there's a video of us being killed.
Right.
I'm like, yo, like what are we doing here? You feel me?
Right.
And then the fact that you said, hey, let's go get some Whataburger. Like,
right.
What are we on about here? Like,
yeah,
you just killed how who knows how many black people.
Yeah.
Actually, not even just black. You just killed somebody.
Right.
You gonna take them out to eat. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? But George Zimmerman.
Come on, now, there's something wrong with that picture.
Exactly. And then like we can go like further. We can speak on George Floyd.
Yes, sir.
Like the fact that cop, man, that situation. That like you got no words for that situation.
I have no words. I have no words.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like the fact that the other cops let him put a knee on his neck.
Yeah, and he's hollering that he can't breathe. Come on.
Like, bro, like I don't care how bad of a person he could have been, or what he did in his life before that.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you see another man saying, "I can't breathe,"
mm-hmm.
your knee is on my neck.
Yes, and that was so unprofessional too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like everything we are taught in criminal justice, he did the opposite.
Right. It's basically like what Dr. Jonathan Reed said. You know, our black professor. He's Jamaican. You know, when he first came here to America, he taught at Georgia State University,
mm-hmm.
Florida State University. You remember how he said that he was gunned down by 2 police officers?
I don't remember, but you can elaborate on it.
Well, Dr. Reed shared when he first came over to America from Jamaica that he was a graduate assistant or might have started teaching at Florida State University.
Mm-hmm.
He was gunned. 2 officers had a gun pointed at him because he fitted the description of a black man that robbed a store or something like that.
Yeah.
Also, Dr. Reed was talking about how he was pulled over by cops and racially profiled 27 times after coming over here to America.
Mm-hmm.
This is just an example of why our criminal justice system is racist and it's biased, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And look at how Dr. Jonathan Reed is, look at him, look what he is today.
Yeah.
Influencing other students. He's a college professor.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I don't know, it's just stuff like that. It's just like, it's really sad because when you ask somebody that has power to change a person's
mm-hmm.
life, somebody that has the power to put them in jail and ruin their life.
Mm-hmm.
If a man walked in here, I said this earlier to a group of mine. A man walked in here, hoodie on, he black,
Mm-hmm.
he got the black forces on.
Yeah.
Highly educated though, but you don't know that.
Right.
But a white man comes in here, nice little suit on, he illiterate as a rock.
Mm-hmm.
Who they gonna gravitate towards?
Yeah.
That white man with the suit.
Yes, they are.
Instead of the man that's highly educated, got a PhD.
Yeah.
But they gonna pull the gun out on that guy.
Right.
They gonna say, hey, here's a job application. Thank you for coming by to the
mm-hmm.
white man. And I feel like it's just
yes.
certain things that you just see and certain how the type of timing this world is on.
Mm-hmm.
People want to say like, yo, ain't racism, like I was saying, like people say racism isn't there. Oh, it's there.
It's alive and well today. Yeah.
It's just legal. People.
And it happens on Sam Houston campus too.
Exactly.
Right.
I don't know if you remember last fall,
mm-hmm.
the situation with the 3 white men and that
mm-hmm.
1 black girl.
Yes.
We can tell the people about it, but like,
yes.
What do you remember about that situation?
Well, what I remember vaguely from that situation was about them throwing water bottles at a black girl.
Yeah.
And them writing a racial slur on her dorm.
Mm-hmm.
The door on her dorm. Is that,
yeah. That's correct.
Yeah. Writing the N-word and something about N dying or something like that.
Mm-hmm. And I remember my mom, she was calling me upset and just
mm-hmm.
worried.
Yes.
Because she was like, yo, like, I send you to a school and then racism is like that.
Yes,
But like, man, racism
is alive and well today.
And it's not just affecting black people. Like, I feel like,
mm-hmm.
yes, we are talking about black people and how racism has affected us, but that's because that's who we are.
Mm-hmm.
Racism is alive and well in other colors and minorities.
Yes.
And I mean, it's just like, it's a sad thing when you got people here that are killing themselves or succumbing to what people perceive them as
mm-hmm.
because of racism.
Right. And that's kind of the back up what we said about the Texas Senate Bill 17 and elite That's why we should keep our minority male success, leave it as minority, because we can come together and talk about stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's like
Right.
topics like that is crazy.
It's touchy, but it needs to be talked about.
It really does. The touchy subjects are the ones that we need to talk about, like exactly what you said.
Right, yeah.
And moving on from that, if you could say anything to the world right now, what would you say to the world? You had 5 minutes to speak.
If I had 5 minutes to speak to say anything to the world,
yes,
what would I say?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I would say nothing can hold me down, because I am Chris. I'm a warrior. I have been through many obstacles and challenges in life. I've been through spiritual warfare, mental health, racism, jealousy. People have walked away from me. People have stabbed me in the back, but I've always gotten back up. I've never let anyone or nothing or anyone hold me back from where I need to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what you
And
said.
I could just keep on talking about that too.
Hey, keep on. Hey, if you want to keep on right now, you can keep on right now. You feel me?
Yeah.
But like, man,
Yeah.
say is never give up. I feel like that's the theme of not just your, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the theme of not just your testimony, but what you have been talking about today.
Right, yeah.
Is like, yo, I never gave up.
Right.
I went through challenges, but I never gave up.
Right. I've been through too much just to let little things, you know,
Mm-hmm.
upset me or just, you know,
Mm-hmm.
or to hold me back, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you spoke on spiritual warfare, and I know you have a book that you are creating.
I am in the process of writing a book that is up to almost 12,000 words, that is over 12,000 words with 30 pages right now.
Hey, talk your stuff about it. Hey, tell the people what this book is going to entail and the vision you have for this book.
Well, let's see. So I started writing this book after, you know, when I started feeling down, you know, at first I started writing it as a diary, you know, or just a little journal, you know, to keep my feelings out, you know, to let my feelings out. Then I kept writing, and I kept writing. I said, maybe this is going to encourage somebody else one day.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to encourage someone else someday. But I'm reminded of what a wise person said one time. I was going through something one time, and I went to go talk to somebody, and they said, no, that's not just a diary or journal. It is going to be a book. Because you know why? That's a sign of the Holy Spirit making you write that so it can be a testimony and encourage other people to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, you know, my book is titled Fighting Spiritual Warfare with an emphasis on faith and determination, you know. It's about how I was fighting all these evil spirits, you know, and how the enemy was trying to attack me and how Satan tried to take me out, you know. But I stood strong, you know, and I had faith and determination that I was going to overcome it, you know. And the vision that I have for this book is hopefully when I graduate here graduate in December, and then get to grad school, I'm going to write the faith and determination on how I got to be able to graduate with an undergrad degree, and then be able to move to a graduate degree, and then being able to have a future career, my future career that I've been wanting, you know.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. How has this book changed your life?
How has the book changed
Or
my
like,
life?
yeah, I know you spoke on getting out of the depressive
Well,
state.
let's see. It's changed my life by being an impact to others, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've kindly have shared what I have so far with others, and they say, this is amazing. You are a true author. You are a true warrior and everything. So that's how it's impacted me. I love how it's been able to make a difference for others, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you read it one time and said how you loved it too.
Yeah, I did love it. Hey,
Yeah.
listen, people, when this book is finished and published, this book is going to change worlds. Like, trust me. Like, forget the bestseller. Like, when you read this book that Chris is writing, he is going to change worlds, minds. I have that envisioned. He has prayed on it so many times. If I'm not mistaken, this book is going to do numbers.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, and I wouldn't, not just because this is a close friend of mine. When you read this book, you will understand what it means to truly go through spiritual warfare and have the faith to get out of it.
Yeah.
And man, what you are doing right now, bro, it's some may see it as small, but man, you're doing something wonderful.
Yeah, I'm praying about it, and I'm just hoping I can get it published, get an editor to be able, to make changes and edit and all that,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But what can the people expect from you next?
About me never giving up.
Yeah.
About how I kept going,
Mm-hmm.
About me was in a low spot in life, but now I'm up here,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Started from the bottom, and
Now we're here, is what Drake would say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But hey, listen, bro. I am so glad you came onto this podcast.
Yeah.
Yo, you don't understand how much this means to me. And I'm glad that I got you as a first guest.
Yes, I am glad too.
Hey, bro.
Be honored to be your first guest.
Hey, listen, bro. Legit, you're going to do something wonderful in this life.
Well, I appreciate it.
And I'm glad that you were comfortable enough to tell me your truth and what you felt like was your spoken truth.
Yes.
And so, hey, bro, I wish you the best in all your endeavors. Hey, we out. Peace out, bro.
Take care, people.
All right, man.
Keep the faith and determination.
Keep the faith and